A legendary actor is being accused of some pretty horrible things, but should you necessarily trust everything you hear? Let's talk about it here on That Park Place. Welcome everybody to That Park Place. Vash Sky here with Lou Wasserman's Ghost. Unfortunately, Jonas couldn't join us for this one, but that's okay. We'll take over from here. Isn't that right, Lou?
Yeah, we don't need that guy. I wasn't anticipating a Randy Newman impression being necessary for this show, so I think
that's a pretty good point right here. If anybody hasn't heard right here, it looks like Sly Stallone or Sylvester Stallone he's in a little bit of hot water, Lou. Could you go ahead and give us just a little bit of a rundown of what's going on here?
That he used disparaging language on the Tulsa King set. Now, for those who don't know, Tulsa King is a series that he's been doing. He did the first season. I watched about 90% of it, not because I didn't like the rest. I just sort of didn't get around to it. And now they're doing season 2. And although it was set in Tulsa, it's about a mobster who kind of gets exiled to a remote location because he gets out of prison for doing the right thing and not spilling the beans. And basically everybody's taken his jobs in the real mob. So they say, well, we have a whole new territory for you to open up. And it was the whole fish out of water, New York tough guy in Tulsa, Oklahoma thing. Well, season 2 is under production, and it's happening mostly in Atlanta. Not that they've moved from Tulsa to Atlanta, but they're pretending, just like, the series Fresno was really in Vancouver and a bunch of other things where the real place doesn't necessarily match up with the fiction. Anyhow, they were doing a scene apparently where he goes to some kind of swinging nightclub. And because Atlanta has grown up so much as a film location and production center, they actually have all kinds of services that do nothing but serve movies in various capacities, from equipment rentals to you have it. And in this case, they hired an extra provider. Now, when you're in Hollywood, there's this thing called central casting and a couple others that have been around for 100 years, but these are all new people in new areas. And they hired them and they said, hey, we are making a scene in a swinging nightclub, so we want Stallone to come in with a bunch of pretty girls around him, and it should all be young, swinging people in this scene. The extra company agreed and then provided old people, fat people, a guy with a cane. And when the producers complained and said, this isn't what we contracted for, they said, well, that's what you get. Well, the producers basically said to them, look, we'll let it pass this time, although it's going to make a problem for our scene. But from now on, when we contract you, we want you to send us headshots, photographs of the people you're going to send, so we make sure they meet our requirements. The extra people in a huff said, oh, we don't do that. We quit. And then went to the news and went to the papers about what an evil, awful guy Sylvester Stallone is, and how he said nasty things about crippled people and about fat people and about old people, and how he just wanted swinging girls around him. Ain't necessarily so, gang, as you can hear from the whole story. But you didn't hear the whole story in the press because, of course, when you're a celebrity, you're a target. And when you're a target, you have to get hit before you can hit back with the truth. So now you know the rest of the story and you can see what kind of stuff goes on.
Well, we know the old expression, right? The falsity or the false claim, runs around the world. By the time that the truth can get its pants on, right? That's kind of the way it works right here. Well, it looks like Paramount themselves are investigating these claims right here. Allegedly used disparaging language on Tulsa King set, as Lou brilliantly pointed out right there. This is via CNN Entertainment. Paramount is looking into claims Sylvester Stallone allegedly used disparaging language about background actors on the set of Tulsa King, which streams on Paramount Plus, sources told CNN. The studio is investigating claims that that first surfaced on social media, in which Stallone was accused of referring to some performers working as extras on the set of the TV series as, quote, ugly, or, quote, a tub of lard, and a, quote, fat guy with a cane, according to two sources close to the show. Bringing pretty young girls to be around me, Stallone was accused of being overheard saying to the director of Tulsa King in another social media post about the set. And Lou, as you detailed so brilliantly right there, that was pivotal to that scene, I'm guessing, right? And so it wasn't like they were necessarily attempting to be discriminatory just to be...
If the scene had been Stallone at an old people's home, it might have been fine, but it wasn't. There are places we could go with this about casting and about genders and races and all the rest of it. But
Sure.
the people who were there say it never happened.
Right.
The director says it never happened. The producer says it never happened. Stallone says it never happened. But of course, the first they heard about there being any problem was when the social media, probably inspired by this service that got fired from the production because they wouldn't provide advance pictures of the people they were going to supply, so that the producers who had been burned once would know with some confidence that they were going to get what they ordered. And you
Right.
understand the whole extra, they call it atmosphere. The whole extra business is about getting what you ordered. In the old days of Hollywood, there was a whole separate category called dress extras, which meant that the men had a tuxedo and the women had a ball gown, so that when you were casting these fancy old-fashioned productions in a big ballroom, the studio didn't have to come up with costumes for everybody. They all wore their own and brought them with them. And you also have all kinds of rules regarding what they call a silent bit, which is you don't have a line in the show like an actor would, but we're going to ask you to make some particular kind of movement or some particular kind of cross through the scene or do some particular kind of thing that's not quite a stunt, but is not just being part of the background, and you'll get a bump for that in your pay.
Sure. And I mean, to me, it's a pretty typical thing. I would imagine that you be, I don't know, necessarily choosy about who you cast for your picture. So, as you so detailed both on camera and off camera, when this casting company or we're looking to use this what is it, this is kind of extras company, right? And they're saying, look, listen, could you give us headshots in advance of who you're going to send going forward, because we can't necessarily have a mix-up like this again. And when that extras company refuses to do so, and the casting director or agent wants to go ahead and separate from them, I don't think that's all that as egregious as what's being portrayed
and
here.
Furthermore, the only reason for this casting company to do this is that A, they may have had some issues before this and felt like they were on the way out anyway, and B, for them to do this whole standing our principles and not sending you, they think will make woke companies go to them. Well, speaking as somebody who was a part of the division of the Directors Guild that handles assistant directors and unit production managers, who are the people who hire extras, my first indication would be stay far away from these people. They're more trouble than they're worth. So I think their misguided thinking that this is going to get them more business will prove not to be so.
I think you're correct. I think productions now, I mean, especially right now, they're looking to trim costs any way they can. They're being very delicate with how they spend their money, and they're going to look to get what they paid for going forward. So I think it's I understand the spin that's happening here. I understand the attack on Sly for the language used. I mean, I get all that, but attempting to turn this into something that is, it looks like it's not, is quite alarming, that's for sure. And look, Lou, you know so much about this industry, and to grace us with your knowledge right here is absolutely profound.
It's just the way it is.
That going.
It's just the way it is, extras. God, I mean, I remember doing a show at Warner Brothers, and there happened to be a Taco Bell across the street from one of the gates near the stage we were on. Sure. And we broke for lunch, and the extras, who don't get catered to like the cast and the crew do, went over to Taco Bell, and a whole bunch of them just sort of never came back. Well, these people were already in the show. Their faces were seen. They had marks. And, it's not a job for them. It's a fun way to pick up a few bucks and be around showbiz. So the level of professionalism, like a lot of our world, has deteriorated. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, and to go back to some of those days, right? And to hear those stories firsthand, we have a show actually together coming up.
Really?
Here. Oh, we do. The Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you is actually in production
because you're going
to
be my wonderful host and interlocutor on behalf of our many fans out there. What this is going to be is a thing where you guys send in your questions about Hollywood. how it works, how it used to work, how it might work in the future. Not
Yes.
specific to any particular production that I may have been involved with or that you think I might be or anything. And I will not violate the privacy of people that I respect. Some of the others, screw them. No, but seriously, but aside from those two caveats, whatever you ask, it's going to get answered. And
Right.
since we want to start, just like that whole new channel, on that happiest of days, Income Tax Day, April 15th, we need your questions now. How do they get them to us, Vash?
Very simple. You just send us a question through the email that we've set up for this, t3ponline@yahoo.com right there. And you can send us your questions. And look, if you want to frame them to say, hey, look, listen, I heard about this Sly thing. Has this happened before? Do you have any history or personal experience with something like this? I think that's quite acceptable, isn't that right, Luke?
Oh, sure. But I think this story is kind of a one and done in my feeling, but maybe somebody out there wants to know more about it. By all means, ask.
You got it. Well, you heard the man. If you like this video, please share this video. We would love it if you would do that. Get some truth out. Get the word out here, so that way we can help have the truth put its pants on right here. That would be nice. If you have a comment about this, coming at it from a different angle, hey, maybe we're off base. Go ahead and leave it in the comment section below, and stay subscribed if you are subscribed. But if you haven't, please subscribe for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.